Hey everybody. Hope you've all been having a good December so far. Can't believe it's already the second week. Time sure flies, doesn't it? So I hadn't done the stream in a little while, so I figured, you know what? Let's just maybe have a chill stream if people want to interact with me. I'm sorry I haven't really been responding to comments that much lately. I've just been kind of occupied. Um, there's just been stuff. Well, I don't know if I've been that busy. I've just um, haven't felt like doing it, but I do read most of them. So I just got this game the other day, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. So I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to have on in the background as we're just talking. So I'm just going to start rambling on. People feel free to ask me whatever you want, and I will respond to it. So cool. Anyways, so I guess kind of the big topic today is the Nick Fuentes Piers Morgan interview, which I watched the whole thing. I have to say, I don't know if this like media blitz is supposed to make me dislike Nick Fuentes, but I don't know. I think he did a pretty good job against Piers Morgan. Now, I personally hate Piers Morgan. I just find him to be a slimy reptilian creature who reeks of intellectual dishonesty and sleaze. But I don't know. I think Nick did a good job. Um, I I honestly, it actually got kind of cringy at some points. Like some of the stuff Nick says is cringy, but just how bad Piers Morgan lost. Like he just was getting completely, to use Kino Casino's terminology, just felt it. Like it wasn't even close. He just was getting completely destroyed. Like the whole portion of okay, so takes his Caesar. So I'm not sure, and people can post in the chat what they think. I can't tell if that was him pretending to not understand or him being dumb. And for me, it's just very hard to tell in that particular context because I could kind of see it going either way. I could see it that he actually doesn't know what per capita is, or I could see he does know what per capita is, um, and he's just trying to cover up for it. I don't know. I also just find a lot of his rhetoric really dishonest on stuff like what was it again? Free speech. Like his free speech stuff was really, it's like, well, I don't think people should go to jail for questioning the Holocaust, but I don't think we should permit public debate on it because the question is 100% um was it. So the thing I found, I think to me, and a bunch of people have pointed this out, maybe the most disgusting part is how he like went after Nick Fuentes for being a virgin and saying like that makes him a morally inferior person. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The way that Piers sounded um, was that Nick Fuentes was lesser human being because he hadn't screwed a bunch of girls back in college. So people, maybe you can tell me if I'm interpreting this right or not. But it felt like it went beyond like you're just a loser if you didn't have sex, and into the category of you're like a bad person for some reason for not screwing a bunch of women. And I mean, you can say what you want about like Nick being gay or an incel or asexual or whatever, but he is Catholic. And within Catholicism, you're not supposed to have premarital sex. Like, that's just not something you're supposed to do. It's not even a, like, you can be a Chad. Like, you can be a Giga Chad. You can be like 6'5", muscular, no problem getting women, and still kind of be a virgin just because you haven't found someone to get married to yet and your religious convictions prevent that. I do find it interesting with some historical figures they claim are gay, because they were celibate because they were religious. So I don't know, but yeah, I just found that very distasteful, and kind of disgusting personally. But that's just me. Um, do I enjoy chess? I played chess when I was younger. Um, okay, so Anonymous Anglo says it came across as it appears was implying Nick's opinions are irrelevant and invalid because he's an incel. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Like it's a non sequitur. Like you can think it's cringe that he calls himself an incel, um, or something like that. I do find the most obnoxious, or the thing I just tend to disagree on most on, is the WQ. Like I'm not a feminist or any. I just, the degree to which Nick hates women is just kind of above and beyond. What was I saying? Yeah, I played chess when I was really young. I just never really had the patience for it. I probably could be like not horrific at it if I really tried. I just never really had the patience. So this is Flotsam. Flotsam. So this is made by one of those companies that just continually produces uh, um, games and then never finishes them and just kind of abandons them. They also made The Wandering Village and Airborne Empire. So Airborne Empire was like you're a flying city, which I thought was a really cool concept. And this one you're a floating city, but they like never actually finished them. And this one is full release, and it took them 4 years to put it out as a full game release. Metroidvanias in general. I've been playing. I played, what is it? Ender Lilies. No, not Ender Lilies. The sequel to Ender Lilies. Ender Magnolia. Yeah. If you're looking for a good Metroidvania, I'd recommend Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist. That one I had a lot of fun with. Um, it's a good Metroidvania. It's made by the people who did Ender Lilies, but they had added in a difficulty selector, which I appreciated. Um, it's I don't know. It's kind of I don't know if it's interesting or not, but just a side note. There are actually a number of games that I've bought solely because they've added a difficulty setting to them. Um, did I get to the upper city? Yeah, I finished Ender Magnolia. I Ender Lilies was too hard. I didn't get through it. But there's like a number of games I played largely because they added a difficulty setting in. Like Ender Magnolia had one. Liza P added one in, so I actually played that because of it. The Hades games I played because they had a difficulty setting. Um, because on the first Berserker I'm playing, and I like that they have a difficulty setting in that too. I don't even play them on like easy. I play them on like normal mode, but I appreciate it because I just don't really have the patience I used to. And my reflexes are really bad, so I like that I can. How about the underwater fight with the crazy transhumanist mad scientist nobleman? It was good. I for the final boss, which I actually found quite difficult, I did like a regen build, so I just put a whole bunch of lifesteal stuff on and just out DPS'd him. But no, Ender Lilies was good. What else have I played lately? I replayed. What was it? Perispera, which is fun. It's a Mars terraforming game. I also played. What was the other one? There was another Mars terraforming game I was playing. Terraforming games were a lot of fun. It's too bad once again. There's so many like games that I like that are ruined by oh no, the other game I played was Dead Cells. Dead Cells, they added a difficulty setting in, so I played that too, and I quite enjoyed that. Um, Excited for the GameCube? Not particularly. I have a good computer, so there's really no need. I'll probably get a Switch 2 at some point. Um, but not at the moment. I don't think. Oh, right. I was gonna announce. I have booked my tickets. I am going to go to Holland and Belgium this spring. I'm going to go in March. So I booked my ticket, and yeah, I think that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to it quite as much as my trip to like Germany and uh, Czech Republic and what's the other and Hungary, but no, it'll be interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff. The thing I'm actually really looking forward to is I think on the last day I'm there because I end my trip in Brussels. I'm gonna go to Waterloo and I'm gonna like walk the from Napoleon's headquarters to like the Lion's Mount and just walk what the French soldiers did, and I think that'll be a cool experience. When my dad and I went to Gettysburg, we walked Pickett's Charge, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool to see that at a ground level and what it was like for the guys who were there. But um, it's just a place in Europe I hadn't really been before. Um, I need to watch some like podcasts or read some books. I'm not super familiar with the Low Countries, but I figured it would be something a little bit different. I kind of want to go back to some of the places I went in Italy. Like, I would not mind going back to Rome or Florence or some of those places again. Want to go to Moscow? Maybe at some point. It's just I'm not sure how easy it is to go to Russia as a non Russian speaker. Um, is I guess the thing that I'm kind of worried about because some countries I just worry that the language barrier would be too bad. Like in a lot of the places I've gone, it's really not that difficult. I'm not sure if Russia would be the same though. Japan's another place I'm just never really sure about. Just the impression I almost get these days is they just don't want tourists to go there at all. I would like to go to Japan at some point, though. Some of my ancestors were loyalists. I think from Philadelphia, who got kicked out of the U.S. During the Revolution. I think I could actually, if I wanted to, put UE under my the UE under my name. I think if I apply for something, if I had the evidence for Unity of Empire, which descendants of loyalists get. Yeah, Russia just kind of seems like hard mode to me, but I'll probably go there at some point. The thing with Italy is I kind of want to go back and see the stuff that I like missed last time I was there. What's your opinion on banning porn? I think the distribution of it should be illegal. Personally, um, I get that it's people are addicted, people have weak wills, and I don't pretend that I don't sometimes give in to my worst instincts. But I think it is incredibly destructive to society, and the distribution of it at least should be criminalized. I I do agree with that. I think it is extremely unhealthy on people, particularly on developing brains. That's not even really a moral position. I kind of came to that position before I was even Catholic. It just seemed to really screw with people's heads. It's kind of like that actually with what was it again? Oh, weed. So like I changed my mind on weed, not even because I was necessarily against it, but just I knew so many people who ruined their lives with um, with weed. I kind of became progressively more anti-drug. Just so many people I knew in high school. I've told this story numerous times. A lot of like really intelligent people I knew in high school and university just blew their brains out by just smoking massive amounts of weed, and they never went anywhere in life. And I just find it very tragic. And it kind of made me just realize that it is actually, at least for people with developing brains, I don't think it's as bad if they're older, but when kids do it or like teenagers do it, it really fucks them up. And I've seen too many instances of that. I think the other issue is, I've said this a lot too, and this is probably a standard talking point, but I feel like with alcohol, there's at least an understanding that it's dangerous. Like at some level, people get that, um, like not to drink and drive, um, like that like drinking and driving can kill you. They understand like overdose. What would be what's the term for overdosing on alcohol? Getting alcohol poisoning, liver damage. I think there's at least a base understanding of that. I think with weed, like I remember the cope I used to hear was people would say, "Oh, I drive too well when I'm smoking weed." Um, like the problem when I'm smoking weed is I drive too safe. Like I'll hear just stuff like that. Um, which I don't hear from. I've never heard someone say that about alcohol. Like, oh, alcohol makes me too good at driving or whatever. No, that was the cope I heard from someone. They said, like, weed makes me really cautious and slow. The other thing is this idea that stoners are chill. Stoners are not chill. Like, stoners are fucking. Like, the average actual person who does weed is, like, a lot of the just random people in the streets who have, like, schizophrenia and shit. I don't know. Also, just living in Canada has made me a lot more anti-drug. I don't know if it's for people who for those of you who live here or have been to other countries, do you find that there's just more drug addicts on the streets in Canada than in a lot of other parts of the world? I just find it's very common here compared to just a lot of places. Um, just nowhere else I've been, at least, other than maybe L.A., has had just as many like drug addicts on the streets, um, screaming at things that aren't there. I mean, I live in Winnipeg, which is probably the worst place for that in Canada, but Toronto's really bad too. Like, Toronto is just covered in them. Oh yeah, no, there's weed shops on every corner here as well. Um, it's also just a lot of people who smoke it think they're like heroes or something. I don't know. I just think it's really. I don't know if cringe is the right term, but just really obnoxious. Yeah, there's a lot of druggies just kind of all over the place. I got close to getting promoted at work. I was in like the last three candidates or something like that, which it's actually kind of good that I didn't get the position because I was going to turn it down anyways. Because I don't know, it's hard to explain, but basically I'm a permanent employee, and the promotion would have been me going to work at another branch. And their condition to go to work at the other branch was I would have to go back to being a contract employee. So I would go back to like renewing 6 month contracts or something. And I had applied for the position without really understanding that. And so like when I was at the meeting, they're like, "Yeah, you get a small raise, but you have to basically just get your contract renewed every 6 months." And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'll make $1,000 less if I don't have to worry about being the first on the chopping block. So, too bad. There'll be other postings though. It is what it is. It's a civil rights yeah, it is a civil rights revolution. You know what I miss? I miss the Chaz. Does anyone else here miss the Chaz? Those were the days. Back when they decided to name like a political project in Seattle after a Yu-Gi-Oh GX character. Yeah, Raz Simone, I miss Raz Simone too. Oh no, like I live on the fucking prairies. It's -20 outside. Um, it's -20 outside, and just fucking Indians are everywhere. I was at Superstore the other day, and I just was looking around. I'm like, why am I surrounded by fucking Somalis? I'm in like the shittiest part of Canada. It's -20 degrees. uh, why are there Somalis everywhere? So, like one of the things I don't like, it's actually I sometimes feel like I'm living in Lost in Translation, or just one of those like guy gets stuck in Japan or a foreign country. Movies or yeah, movies or stuff like that. Because I'll like go into stores and not a single person who works there will speak English. That's a very common experience. Or they'll speak like just really bad broken English I can't even understand. And that's just a very normal experience for me these days. Is just to do that. And then just like about I got out of going to the one office I had to go to, I would say about 75% of the people there didn't speak coherent English. So I I was often in meetings where you would have like Pakis and like Southeast Asians and or like Indonesians and Africans and stuff like that, and they would all none of them could speak to each other, so we would just have like a bunch of shrill women like trying to talk over each other in their native dialects. Um, it's not even the case where they were all like Chinese and they could talk in Mandarin. And so like I was at work, I used to go to work with that, and I couldn't really talk to anybody. I think there was one other white woman who could speak English. There was a Jamaican guy who actually spoke okay English, so that was something. Um, but yeah, like I would go to a I would go to yeah, like I take the bus. Everybody on it was Indian. Everyone was talking in non-English languages. I don't know. You guys go to Tim Hortons ever? Uh, Tim Hortons is now entirely Indian, and none of the staff there speak English. I don't. I just find it very alienating. Um, and even the people who can kind of speak it, and even the people who are like fairly decent people otherwise, it's just it's difficult. It's just it's alienating to not be able to have conversations with people. Um, no, to have any shared cultural memory, like not to be able to not to ever be able to say, "Oh, do you remember this movie? Do you remember this show going growing up? Do you remember when this thing happened?" Um, do you remember when this thing happened? And they're just like, no, they don't know anything um, about any of it, and so I'm just kind of left like not being able to really talk to anybody about anything other than food. You can talk about ethnic cuisine, I guess. And Taylor Swift. You can talk about Taylor Swift. You can't really talk about movies. You can talk about like really shitty Swipple Netflix shows. That's somewhat permissible, but yeah. But yeah, no, it's just Indians everywhere. It's rough, man. It's rough. I remember there was one day in the summer when I was like walking to church, and it was some like Indian cultural festival or something, and I swear the streets were just packed with Sikhs. Like 80% of the people I saw were Sikh on that particular day. So, but I mean that's just the norm here. I don't know. This country's fucked. It's funny whenever people think it's a god. Yeah, they're like, "Why are you shitting on the U.S.? You live in Canada," and I'm just like, I know. Oh, I remember back when I used to live in Waterloo. They had a place called Mikey's Canadian and Chinese food, which I always thought was kind of funny. I miss the Chinese. I never thought I'd say that. I miss when all our immigrants were from China. So the thing I find with Indians, I'm not sure if you guys find this as well. I find that they often are the kind of people who will be very submissive and diminutive to you in person and be like, "Yes, sir, you are very kind, sir. I am so grateful for your magnanimity." But then, like, the second that you're out away from them, they will talk, like, they'll backbite you, is how I find Indians are. I don't know what everyone else's experience is, but that's what I often find. Oh yeah, no, Canada is like majority non-white in a lot of places. I think it is, I'm not sure if it is where I live yet. In Toronto, it's majority non-white in Toronto. So I mean, like when you're dealing with China economy strong, like China economy strong will try to scam you, or or play games, but they at least like if there's anything that requires intelligence or basic competency to do, I can trust that like the Chinese guy knows what they're doing, um, which is more than I can say for a lot of the Indians. Um, I don't know if there's anything. The women at my work talking about how they've like mortgaged their houses to go to Taylor Swift concerts is really obnoxious. Okay, it's not that bad, but they will. I don't know. The idea of like flying across the country to like Vancouver just to see a Taylor Swift concert is just weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a some kind of like strange dude, but spending like $3,000 like to get Taylor Swift tickets and to fly across the country to go to a concert or something, just seems weird to me. That's like more than half of a trip to Europe. That's like my ticket and a week of hotels. In Europe, I could have done it. Well, Constantine, that's because you live in the U.S. and I live in Canada, and just everything is expensive here. I'm thinking of 3,000. I don't know, Constantine. Are you thinking of $3,000 American or $3,000 Canadian? Uh, yeah, that's about a trip. Yeah, that's close to it. It's like $4,100 Canadian or something, as opposed to in freedom dollars. Yeah, okay. Trump should rename it like the Freedom Dollar. No, no. Well, he should rename Fahrenheit freedom units. I do think that that should be something. They should also rename football Freedom Football. I think that is another one that they need to do sooner rather than later. Freedom Ball, yeah. I don't know. The Gulf of America thing is cringe, and I refuse to call it the Gulf of America. It's the Gulf of Mexico. I get that it's a funny troll, but it's kind of retarded. Call it felon ball? Well, that's one way to put it. Speaking of that, how about the Blue Jays flubbing it at the last minute? That's such a Canadian thing to have happen. I remember in Toronto was kind of Copesville when it came to sports because every year it was like Leaf Nation and people were so like hyped. They're like, this is going to be the year the Leafs are going to not suck. And then it would always just be a massive disappointment. And then we would just get back to Copesville and they'd be like, maybe next year. Maybe next year it won't be a disaster, but it always was. It always was. I remember that's one of the things that they wanted to do for the that Vince McMahon suggested for the XFL was they were talking about not allowing felons to participate, which I thought was kind of funny. They were talking about not letting people with criminal records participate. No, I don't. I don't watch any professional sports. I do not. I've at some points thought that maybe I should like try to get into UFC or something because that seems to be a big thing in these circles, but I've just never gotten around to it. Oh, the cities of the LGBTQ community. That sounds about right. Eat the bugs, get in the pod. Get in the robot Shinji. Is Get in the Robot Shinji like the anime version of Put the Fries in the Bag? Catch the bugs, get in the pod, watch the gay porn. I still think, like, okay, so I have some issues with Serp's book. Well, actually, a lot of issues with Serp's book, Piss Earth. But the part that it was like the funniest shit was the guy who had the second phone that he just ran gay porn on all day to increase his social credit score. I thought that was like some of the funniest shit because I could see that being a thing. Like that's in the category of stuff that's so close to reality it almost kind of isn't funny. I don't know. Piss Earth is really weird. I like the first half of Piss Earth. Um, the second half is just really strange. It gets into like Gnosticism and like the regeneration of the Earth and just all this really like strange esoteric stuff. I like how he's about to be executed like halfway through the book and he just drops an N bomb and it causes um and it just causes like all the people to have a total breakdown and start crying. It has like metaphysical power. I don't think I'm going to review it because I feel like my review would be pretty negative, and I just don't really want to do that to Serp. So yeah, that's why I haven't done a review of it. I don't. I love Serp, but we have some pretty different tastes when it comes to a lot of those things. I didn't like some of the decisions that he made with it. Just it's just too weird. Like I don't know why it had to be about like Gnostic the demiurge recreating the world. There was funny stuff the fact that they basically just believed that they had destroyed the earth but they believed that the singularity would save them. The ongoing problem though was that they couldn't make a robot that wasn't racist. So all of their attempts to create the non-racist robot were just total failures. Um, and so they like the singularity kept being pushed back, and so they just were kind of screwed as a society because of that. There's one scene where the teacher at his college euthanized her robot husband, her AI husband, for being because he was racist, which I think is kind of funny. Oh yeah, I wanted to give a shout out. There's a guy on YouTube. Let me see if I can find him. Who's remixed like all the GameCube and Wii era Sonic games into synthwave. Severed Soul. I just wanted to give him a shout out, and it's awesome. So I'm just gonna post a link to him. Definitely check him out. He's done a really good and he even did the redid the vocals for them. Like his new version of "Supporting Me" is great, is awesome. He's just done like really cool stuff with it. Um, the fact that he redid the vocals on them, I find very. I don't know if it's an AI voice or not, but I find it impressive, personally, that he would go to that length. Team Chaotic Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes was such a strange game. I never know what to make out of it. On one hand, I kind of respect that they tried to do something different. And I respect that it was like it was one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen. Like, why did you defeat me? Because we're Sonic Heroes. Or stuff like I found that stuff really funny, but a lot of it was just really dumb. Too bad it's all over for you. Let's show them the awesome superpower of teamwork. No, it if Chris Chan made Sonic Heroes, that would make a lot of sense. Uh huh. It did give us what I'm made of, which is I like that song. I also like what's the other one from that? I was trying to remember what the other big one is. There's what I'm made of. There's this machine. I really like this machine. That's the other one I really like from it. Then again, like any of the Shadow songs are always good. They always have like the weird distortion in them. Shadow was kind of to me okay. Thanks for reminding me. I need to go watch FNAF. So last Friday, I was watching Bridge on the River Kwai with some friends I have here. So that's the reason we didn't get a FNAF review. I'll try to go do a FNAF review. I'll try to go see FNAF this weekend, maybe. Which should be interesting. I'll try to go see FNAF. Oh yeah, I started watching this really good anime. I don't know. Has anyone here heard of an anime called Kingdom? It's like it's about the unification of China. It's kind of like a shonen anime about the unification of China. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Like I just really got into it, and I kind of just keep wanting to watch more and see what happens next. But yeah, Kingdom's really good. Um, it's a bit. It's kind of like it's kind of a it's kind of like a mix between Arslan, um, Apothecary Diaries, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes. All of which I like, but not as good as Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Um, but Kingdom's really good. I'll review it once I get caught up with the anime. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Um, it's so weird because it's a shonen, but it's like a historical shonen about the unification of China. So, like, Shin, who's the main character, will say, I'm gonna be the greatest general ever. Like, I'm gonna be Hokage. He's very Eren Yeager coded, and he just will yell, um, like, we have to keep, just very Eren Yeager-y, like, spurgy, edgy stuff. I like Shin, though. Shin's cool. I'm gonna be the greatest general who's ever lived. What's his name? I can never remember the characters' names in this. Zhang, the future first emperor of China, is pretty cool. Him and Shin are like BFFs. But yeah, Kingdom is super long. I mean, it's kind of understandable that it's long as it is. It is about the like unification of China, which isn't really a brief subject, but I think Shin's family went on to be the I think his descendants founded the Tang Dynasty. I could be wrong, though. But that reminds me, I never reviewed Apothecary Diaries. I'll have to get that. There's so many things to review. I liked Apothecary Diaries, but Mau Mau is very Reddity. Um, no, I haven't. I admit I just don't want to review Camp of the Saints because it just looks too depressing. I'm just gonna be 100% honest on that one. I don't think that that's that strange a position to take on Camp of the Saints. Oh yeah, I think Jay Burden is going to be having me on soon to talk about Berserk. So that should be fun. I'm not sure when that will be. That'll be some point in the future. That's my very specific explanation. Let's see. Just want to cap this. At maybe 20 for now. Oh, interesting. Wait, you keep meeting the guy who gets shot? Do you mean a guy like him or the actual guy who I don't know. Maybe follow up on that. I don't entirely understand what you mean. Oh, guys like him. You didn't meet him. Okay. Okay, let's see. Um, do I prefer tactics and strategy games to map games? I don't know. To action games? I don't know. I kind of like stuff. I kind of like chill stuff like this because I'll listen to a an audio book normally in the background, or I'll watch like I can play this while watching a subbed anime and multitask that well enough. So I can do that. How much would someone have to pay me to review Fat Albert? I don't know, like some money. I like the movie I would charge probably the most to review would be Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Like I've said, I think. I'm trying to remember how much I said I would need to get paid to review that. I think it was something like 200 American dollars to review Dial of Destiny. Is what I said. And honestly, I think that's kind of a generous amount. I think that's a low ball for the suffering that watching Indiana Jones 5 would cause. It just looked like one of the worst things ever made by a human. When I was just saw the trailer for it, I was just like, this is a sin against nature and nature's God, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford like needs to be punished for taking part in that abomination. Serp said it was better than Indiana Jones 4 because it was just such a freak show. It was interesting, but I don't know. But yeah, I'll go watch FNAF at some point. I'm interested in that. What's her name is I think pretty cute. I can't remember her name. The actress who plays Elizabeth or whatever her name is. I think she's pretty cute. So I'm kind of speechless about the Zelda movie. How like the people they got actually look like Link and Zelda. I don't know. I just find that weird. Like that neither of them is black, or like trans, or tattooed, or weird looking. That they're both like attractive and look like the character that they're portraying. I don't know. At least Netflix isn't making it. If Netflix was making it, then they'd all be black. Yeah, I can't believe they didn't cast Xenia as Zelda. The girl they got looks exactly like Zelda, or at least some iterations of her. The guy they got to play Link looks exactly like Link. I am very impressed. So fair enough. I'm just happy they're not black. Uh, I don't know. Netflix bought Warner Brothers, if that's what you're thinking of. Let's see. What am I looking for? I want to get radio. Where's radio? I think bioprocessing is what I need next. Okay, I'm getting to the point where my ship is getting a bit too, or my city's getting a bit too big for my ship to pull it. So I will eventually have to deal with that. Where was that guy? There was a guy I was trying to pick up to add to the ship. Oh, there we go. Right, over here. I got turned around like a record baby. Right round. Have I discussed Bring Her Back with Serp? I don't think so. That feels like the kind of movie that Serp would like more than me. I don't know. There's something about, like, gore related to losing teeth that just really bothers me. Like, just when the kid stabs himself in the, like, mouth and it takes his, teeth out. I don't know. There's something about it that just rubs me the wrong way. Have I been looking at the same image for an hour? Oh, is it not? Oh. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, shit. Okay, well. Uh, I'm sorry. I thought that that was playing. Oh. Okay. My bad. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't. I thought that that was running. Okay, well. Old Argent boomering it up over here. Let's see. I had been wondering why no one was commenting on the game, but I don't know because it looked like it was working, but I guess it just wasn't streaming properly. Yeah, whatever. In the words of Almighty Tevin, I'm a professional. The latest DSP, you should get to Tropico 6. I played Tropico 6. My favorite Tropico is still, I think it's 4. Um, it's the one where, like, the whole game was on the 2 maps and you advance. It was era progressive. Um, what's the one I'm thinking of? Okay. Four, I also think simplified logistics. The issue I have with a lot of the Tropicos is people just don't really haul stuff properly. I think it was in four that they simplified a lot of that. So that was, I think that was my favorite one. Five and six were okay. Five and six kind of blend together for me. They kind of feel like the same game. They probably aren't, but I don't know. I hope the next one has like a long main game. Um, okay. Rain, what is it? I don't know. She's doing her patrol to make sure that nobody's, I don't know, taking her kibble or something. Why they can't design modern buildings? Yeah, I don't know either. These are all good questions. I took some of Rain's kibble. Well, I mean, it. Maybe. I don't know. She's doing her patrol to make sure that. I don't know. It's just a weird thing with cats is they get up every like half hour or so, or like hour, and just do a patrol of their territory. One of my friend's cats views the area outside his apartment as part of her territory, and she will demand to go there, but she's also super skittish. So she'll just basically peek her head out, make sure everything's okay, and then dash back in. I need a radio technician. Need to reload. This game has this weird bug with it where quests just don't trigger some of the time. Okay. I don't know why it's not triggering. Yeah, well. In the words of the late, the great Barack Hussein Obama, yes, we can. Doesn't Obama feel like he was a lifetime ago at this point? Like, it feels like that was just from another age, another life. I mean, we live in the age of, like, the Trumpinate or whatever lame name I came up with to describe it. But I'm just trying to get the mission to trigger that will let me start to go to get the stuff. Thanks, Obama. Does anyone remember Thanks, Obama? That was. I don't know. I always found that meme really funny. Just in reference to just random shit. Just saying thanks, Obama. Ugh. Let me see. What is my cap at? That's too high. Lower that. Yeah, you're right. Where are we supposed to get the? Yeah, you're right. Weren't we supposed to get the Epstein files this month? I guess they just forgot about that, maybe? I don't know. The non existent Epstein files? I still think that is. You know what? I actually have to do the RGs. I've been too lazy to get them together, but I'm going back to Ontario to stay with my parents over Christmas, so I'll try to get them done maybe there. The worst take is going to go to Trump claiming that the Epstein papers were a hoax invented by the Democrats to discredit him, which might be one of the single worst takes I've ever heard. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Yep. Thanks, Obama. Okay, so what is... Just trying to figure out where all the stuff is going. Oh, I turned. Okay, well that would explain. I turned off the production. Bananas out for Harambe. Yep, I remember that. Oh, Harambe. I remember there was this one like high school in I don't know. I walked by in Toronto, and they had like a big statue of a gorilla, and somebody just wrote Harambe on the back of it. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't loot. DSP is gonna like be outlive us all. Like the apocalypse is gonna happen, and Phil is gonna be in a bunker somewhere, just streaming. I don't know, and just begging the cockroaches for money or something. Oh yeah, Peanut the squirrel. I forgot about Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. Justice for Peanut. Yeah, that's an interesting thing about lobsters is that they don't age. They just get too big to die. They just get too big and then they die from size. No, Phil is the luckiest. Phil is interesting in that he is both extremely lucky but also like retarded. So we get this weird thing where just inevitably something happens to go in and save him right before he's about to get his comeuppance. But he always wastes it, and it makes his situation worse. Like the fact that he made all the money from the Kino Casino arc actually kind of screwed him over because it means now that um, he had to pay all the back taxes on them. Phil does not withhold tax. So if you're self-employed, you're supposed to withhold tax money to pay your income taxes and business taxes and stuff because obviously they don't collect it at point because, well, you're self-employed. There's no one to collect it. So you're supposed to set the money aside for it. Phil refuses to do that. So he's basically just way behind on his taxes. And I think he just makes the minimum payment every month. And he just keeps spending money on WWE champions. I think an interesting question. Do you think there's an amount of money that DSP could make that he wouldn't immediately spend? Like, is that even possible? That much money could exist? He was yelling the other day about how we have to have secret police to like hunt down internet trolls and physically remove them from society. I think Phil is like unironically would like the social credit system. I think it would be like his yeah. Well, Phil theoretically is doesn't just have a full time girlfriend in a serious adult house. Somehow the dude's married. I don't know how that happened, but the dude is technically married. I don't know. I don't know if it's a fake marriage for tax purposes or what. I guess bring it up. The ultra rare DSP dub. I don't know, man. He clearly hates the video games, though. He hates playing video games. He hates interacting with his chat. I don't know. We're having like the Asmongold arc. I'm going to be honest. I don't even really know who Asmongold is. I think apparently he's like a big, like conservative YouTuber or something like that. I've never really watched him or heard anything about him. The name is vaguely familiar, but beyond that, I just don't really know who he is. Like, what is his shtick? Is he just like a conservative? Is he an anti SJW? Or, like I said, I don't really know anything about him. The thing is, though, you can't. Phil can't be given a redemption arc, because it doesn't matter. Okay, Real Grill, did that actually happen, or was that something PPP made up? Because I wasn't sure if that was like if Asmongold actually used the dead rat as an alarm clock. That sounded fake to me, but this is the internet and really weird shit happens. So I was like, there's maybe a 5% chance that's true and honest and accurate. Now that the game's actually on screen, what do people think? I don't know. I just find this game very chill and very like relaxing. Is he like a non-Satanist version of Styx? Styx is a weird dude. And I mean, there's a lot of weird dudes in these circles, but he's a really weird guy. I forget, did Styx lose all his money? Um, I can't recall. Oh. Oh, the fleet. So okay. So sorry, I should have explained this. So this is like a colony builder game, and your city is on the back of a it's like a mobile floating city. So I'm just kind of going around the flooded world collecting resources and people to join the crew, and then eventually you start to get to parts where you have to start like building a spaceship and stuff. So just kind of a chill colony builder progression game, I guess you could say. These guys also did one called Airborne Empire, where it was a like a flying ship, but yeah. I just remember Styx implying that they raped him in jail. Like I don't know if that was unintentional, but he said he experienced the jailhouse rock or something. I don't know. That was weird. No, but DSP tried to be a conservative grifter and he sucked at it. Um, he like Ashton told him, he's like, look, if you want to make money, just suck off Trump and say Trump's awesome, and you'll be able to make money that way. And Phil just couldn't do it. Um, he just couldn't put the generic conservative takes in the bag. I think as far as like DSP having any political views, he seems like he would be a moderate Republican to me. That was always kind of the vibe I got off of him. Um, like a moderate or kind of liberal Republican. Why do Canadians have that weird accent? I don't know. Oh yeah, I need to do the video on the quartering. Fuck, there's so many videos I need to make. I made a is he a lol uh, I did like like instead of is it fascist, I did are they a lol cow? And I have like all these this scoring system made up to go through for different people. I think I think Hambly got like a near perfect score. Like he was very. If he didn't get like a perfect score, it was pretty close to being perfect on the lolcow scale. Um, I have a set of criteria, and then I also have just a bunch of bonuses. And you need to get more. So like you need. I think I have like 12 points for criteria, and then like another 12 points for bonuses. And to be a lolcow, you have to get um, over 12. So you need to get like at least a couple bonuses. So bonuses are things like deleting your Twitter, and then let me just look this up. Maybe I'll read some of these out. Are they a lolcow? Okay. Okay, let me read out what I have for are they a lolcow. Criteria 1, grandiosity, a vastly inflated conception of their own abilities, importance, or intelligence. Criteria 2, irresponsibility, an inability to acknowledge faults or accept responsibility for actions. Criteria 3, a persecution complex, a perpetual sense that the world is against them and that blame is always external. Criteria 4, compulsive oversharing, shares personal or humiliating details impulsively for attention or validation. Bandwagon morality, superficially adopts popular political or cultural views for approval. Social illiteracy, cannot read the room or predict how audiences will react. Criteria 7, control dependency, continually gives detractors the reaction they seek. Criteria 8, parasocial substitution, treats audience interaction as a substitute for real life relationships. Criteria 9, pathological honesty and dishonesty, lies when they don't need to and tells the truth when they shouldn't. Okay, criteria 10, conspicuous consumption, uses material possessions or luxury spending for emotional fulfillment. Criteria 11, reckless instability, repeated impulsive or self-sabotaging financial behavior. Criteria 12, grift reliance, depends on parasitic income streams such as pity donations, scams, or e-begging. So that was where the criteria for the 12 criteria for being a lolcow. So then there's a whole bunch of bonus points. Now, to be considered a lolcow on this scale, you have to get at least 12 points. So here is the bonus points. So these are for things that are more specific, that put you over the top. Okay, so bonus points. Here I'm just going to go through them. Declares drama over and then immediately resumes it. Calls unedited clips slander or fabrications. Obviously watches detractor content while claiming they don't. Leaks private text, DMs, or correspondence to gain leverage. Deletes or delists social media accounts, then quickly returns. Launches Patreon, GoFundMe with impossible rewards and then fails to deliver. Calls their own supporters detractors or turns hostility inward. Engages in mass uncoordinated reporting or deplatforming campaigns. Inadvertently describes themselves when attacking others. Fakes or exaggerates major illnesses or personal crisis to gain sympathy or money. Confesses to, or commits or confesses to crimes but escapes real world consequences because it's the internet. So, I don't know. I think it was pretty good. I think Hambly got like... I tried to do like I did a couple people as a test run. I think James Rolfe got like a 2. Keemstar I think got about like an 8. Keemstar got like a 7 or an 8. The thing with Keemstar though is like he's a troll. So a lot of the lolcowish things about him are like him trolling people, so he's kind of hard to rate. But yeah, like DSP and Boogie and those people would all get extremely high. Okay. Not to toot my own horn, but I feel like the video I did on the Russian frozen assets alone was like more interesting and higher effort than basically anything DSP has ever done. Like his streams are unwatchable. I've tried to watch them like just to make fun of them, but he's just so boring. And that is the biggest sin a movie can commit is not to be bad, it's to be boring. There is nothing like there's no worse like crime a film can commit than to just be unwatchably boring. And that is the problem with a lot of with Phil. That was based when he said type Alex is a stupid N-word in the chat. I think the person I might hate. Okay, so I'm trying to think the person I hate the most. I really hate iDubbbz. I actually can't even really watch the iDubbbz segment a lot of the time on Kino Casino. It just irritates me too much. It's just he's a guy who had everything, who was on top of the world, who was a millionaire. I never got through. Every time I try to do Movie Bob's Manifesto, I never get through it because it's so boring. Like once you get past the part where he talks about like having to hide in his car because he's such a disappointment to his parents, it just gets kind of like really boring when he actually starts going through the game. Well, I mean, it's true. It's like Concord failed because it sucked. Like it was just boring. Like it, if something is like bad or controversial, that's not really like that's something you can solve. Like even with something like Doctor Morbius, it sucked and it failed, but it at least got some attention for being like so bad it's funny. And for the whole campaign to get it like brought back to theaters actually succeeding. I can't believe I saw Dr. Morbius. It was really bad. It was like X-Men Origins Wolverine levels of bad. I was thinking about it. You know who really fucked up was Francis Ford Coppola with Megaopolis. Like, he's just so arrogant. He could have probably salvaged Megaopolis at least somewhat if by like he won't even release Megaopolis on DVD. Like I didn't see it in theaters. I would actually pay to rent it on like Amazon Prime just to do a review or out of curiosity. So like I'd pay like $10 to watch Megaopolis. Is it shit? It's probably going to be shit, but it looks like it's fascinating that would happen. That thing somehow got made, and I'd want to review it. But he refuses to let it get released on DVD. It has live acting parts to it, so it's very hard to screen. Somebody apparently figured out that the only place you can watch it is on American Airlines. In-flight movie entertainment, it is on there for some reason. So if you want to watch Megaopolis, that's probably your only hope. It sounds truly horrendous though. Like really bad. I mean, iDubbbz took his wife's name. That's not normal. I don't know. It's I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen that. Like the people who would do something like that are just the biggest cocks, like the biggest cock beta males. Okay, here we go. Yep, that's what I want. Yep, okay. But who takes your? I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that. Um, it's very progressive. I don't know if iDubbbz is just blowing out his brain with drugs or something. I feel like he used to be smarter than he is now, or at least like not completely retarded back in the day. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe iDubbbz is actually that stupid. It always was, and it's just the editing or whatever saved him. But that's another case of like put the fries in the bag. Like all he had to do is keep making fun of Kickstarter projects, and he would have been golden. Like people wanted more Kickstarter crap. They wanted more Indiegogo excrement. Um, like people wanted that. They didn't want like his takes on Palestine or something. Like the least informed, most just retarded political takes possible. Need to find a city at some point. I'm running kind of low on resources. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like. I don't know who Filthy Frank is. The name's familiar. Just a lot of these people I've like heard of. They just don't really matter to me, so I just never really bothered to look into them. By the way, just to give another shout out, if you guys haven't already, check out the Lotus Eaters. Sargon's like redemption arc is complete, and his new media like enterprise is actually pretty good. Um, I will actually watch. I don't watch that many political shows on YouTube. I do watch like the Duran and the people in their universe, but uh, I wish Metatron would go back to covering like historical stuff because I don't want like I just don't want to hear him like give political takes. I just feel like they're going to be very very cringy, like generic kind of conservative talking points. Like I watched a bit of his video on Nick Fuentes and it was just like I don't know, dude. I really like you just go back to talking about if you want to talk about historical inaccuracy, you're just not the kind of guy I want as a political YouTuber. I don't know. I just don't think he's very like. It's just I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love Metatron. He's a cool guy. I'd love to hang out with him IRL. I think he. I think like of a lot of the YouTubers, he would be kind of one of the coolest guys to hang out IRL with, and like play video games with him, and or like spar with him or something like that. And just talk about like esoteric history shit that no one's ever heard of. It's kind of funny because um, I use ChatGPT a fair amount these days. It thinks I'm like apolitical, or it thinks I'm like a moderate conservative or something. Just because I don't really sound that extreme. Yeah, he's too chill. Yeah, Metatron's too chill for. I don't know. I just want him to talk about like armor, like just I just want him to talk about armor and like life in ancient Rome and stuff like that. I'll admit I do use AI a bit in my videos. What I normally do is I mostly use it as an organization tool. Like I will just like lay out everything I want to cover, and then I'll have it like help me organize it. And like I'll normally have a long conversation and like plug sources in. I'll just be like, could you just summarize this for me? So I have like something to put on a slide, so I don't lose track of where I am. And yeah, and that tends to be what I use AI for. Like most of the text on my if you see any of the PowerPoints I make, the text on that tends to be AI generated. Um, it's generated. Like I said, I'll plug a bunch of stuff in and just ask it to summarize it for me. So I find that helpful. I don't know. I just find writing out summaries of stuff really. I don't know if difficult's the right term, or it's hard to motivate myself to do that. I guess is the thing. So that is helpful. Um, yeah, I find AI is very helpful for that. Um, like just if people are interested, so I have my standard reactionary review template. So I will plug that in, and then I'll just go through and give all my takes about the I'll just talk about the movie. I'll talk about like things I liked about it, themes I saw, characters, and then I'll just ask you, could you just organize it into sections so I can put it on slides? I find that very helpful, personally. It's sometimes I find easier to just put my ideas out there, like in the form of a conversation. Something I like. Another thing I find AI useful for is if I'm doing something like writing a cover letter. Like I'll get it to ask me questions. Like or how I did for my most recent job is I plugged in the job description. I got it to ask me questions, uh, to give me kind of a prompt to work with, and then I would write responses, and then it kind of just it would just put everything together into a like a the actual letter, which I don't know. I just find stuff like that helpful. Um, I do find its ability to summarize is good. It's anytime you're asking it to do things it doesn't have immediate knowledge of, something that it will often do is pretend it knows things. The worst for this is Copilot, because my work we have to use Copilot, and I just find Copilot is really bad at lying. Like it will just tell you, it'll just lie to you, just really blatantly. Like it'll say, "Oh yes, I have. Here is a file with what you asked for in it," and then there'll be nothing. Like it'll just be a blank file, and then I'll be like, "Well, the file is blank," and then they'll go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go. Here is a file that has everything in it," and then there'll be nothing in it. Um, and then that's just kind of how things will progress. Oh yeah, I got a copyright strike the other day. Um, just from like a really old video I had done complaining about the rebuilds. I got a copyright strike for the footage I used in that. So I filed a counter notification unless they want to sue me. Um, which in which case it's just by all means sue me over clips from a a video, because I was just thinking about it partially because I'm in Canada. Like they would have to prove damages. I think how it works in Canada, and I'm like, okay, what are they going to prove that I made like $5 of ad revenue off of the video? Like the judge will maximum fine me like like a couple $100. If they want to do like a $30,000 lawsuit, or no, they'd have to. I think they would have to like it was like a German company, so they would have to like sue me in the United States across the border in Canada. I think is like like what they would have to do. I don't know. It's not going to happen. If they want, like I said, if they want to spend like $60,000, then or like $100,000, then whatever. I mean, that might happen. I don't think I said anything in that video that was that, but I don't know if this company has ever actually sued anybody. There's a whole raft of companies that just do this. It's called copy fraud. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, this is a good place I can complain about AI. So the things that irritate me about AI are when so I like talking about mafia stuff. So if I ask it about mafia stuff, sometimes it'll be like, I can't help you in committing a crime. The information you ask is illegal. Like it'll do stuff like that. Like if I ask it war questions, sometimes it'll say, I cannot. This information involves potential terrorist acts. I cannot discuss this with you. Like I'll get like it'll just say stuff like that sometimes. I want a electrician. Yeah, anything that it thinks is racist. It's funny, like if you ask it things like, um, that might be considered objectifying women, like is how big are like ex actresses' boobs or something like that, it'll get really indignant and start lecturing you, or just stuff like that. I just find it gets very indignant over a lot of things. So yeah, it'll be like, well, I can't tell you about, because I was just asking like, is property something that is a lot of criminals use to hide their money, and I was just going through why. It's like, I can't tell you that. That might be used to, as part of a committing of a crime. Also, if I like talk about an actual person, it will say like, I cannot confirm that this is accurate. You shouldn't be saying these things about this person. And I'm just like if I'm talking about DSP or the quartering or something, it'll say that. I'm like, look, I have the video, like the clip in front of me. They're like, we can't take your word for it because we can't watch clips. Because we can't process the sound on them or whatever. And it's just like, ugh. Beauty is subjective. It's not right to say one person is better looking than another. Or just stuff like that. Asking it any media question is always like a thing. Is always a dodgy prospect because it will just pretend to know um, what you're talking about. Even if it has no clue like what media property you're referring to. Like I'll ask it about something and they'll be like, "Oh, you mean this?" No, I'm like, "Do you know what this media thing is?" And they'll be like, "Yes, I know what this is." I'm like, "Okay, then who's the main character?" And they'll just give me completely the wrong answer. Um, or it'll agree with you. My biggest complaint is just that it agrees with you, um, and tries to please you to the point that it actually impacts its usability. Like I would prefer if it would just say, "I'm not sure what you mean by that. I can't find information on that," or something to that effect. But rather than like pretend it knows what you're talking about when it really doesn't. I don't know. Does that make sense? It should make sense, I guess. I just use ChatGPT, so okay. Let's see. AI is good for proofreading. That's another thing. I find AI really good for. Like something I always find it helpful for is like, can you make this shorter? Or can you cut this down or something like that? I find that very helpful too. Or just could you proofread this for me? Anyways, I think that's enough for tonight. I hope people had a good time. I'm sorry if the game wasn't running most of it, but